Okay, why people do drugs and drink are because people who have created some type of government for us through worry, doubt, and fear have decided that we needed to be micromanaged. So, in short, a child, a baby, they know peace. And just like every animal and every other species in life knows its lot, a child knows its lot. When it's free and you watch it, like a child from 0 to 2 or 3, freely do what it wants without being manipulated or controlled or feeling like it's not being loved. If it's really being loved and loving life, it will show you what it enjoys doing. And then somehow we're placed in schools where we're supposed to learn things instead of following what we're naturally drawn to. So instead, we're plucked out of our childlike wonder because we're forced to learn things that we don't want to learn. And then if we don't do well on it, it lowers our self-esteem. So then eventually we start to conform and get used to that. And then all of a sudden we come across a drug or alcohol or whatever. And that brings us back to our childlike wonder and feeling. So that there is the government giving us a substitute because it plucks us away from our natural inner childlike wonder of who we are to explore, forces us to learn certain academics, but the thing is, like, whatever you're interested in is connected to everything else. If you're an artist, through art you can learn history and math, and so you should just be following the tunnel that you're naturally drawn to and then learn the other things that are a part of it as you go. It makes it more interesting and you excel, you enjoy it. But when you're forced to learn something you don't enjoy, or even worse, don't understand, that really lowers your self-esteem, and then you're not happy anymore, and it disconnects you from your love of that childlike wonder that we're naturally born with. And then that's why people go to drugs. And then with the drug that the government says is okay to have, it's because we become complacent. So then we're like, oh, everybody else, we got to do our 9 to 5, or we got to do our this and that job, or this makes a ton of money, so let's do that, and then I can go and, get wasted or go do drugs or whatever later, because then, I feel like, okay, that's my feeling good in life. That's exactly what it's like. That's exactly what kind of mirage has been put in front of us. So I say that's not right, just like everybody else says that's not right, because it's not, because then all of a sudden you become more prestigious and you've learned all these things, like the people who really excel and do well in school, then they feel like, oh, we're at the top of our, rank, and so we get to do this job or that job and that job, it's like that entitlement, and they start feeling, then we're, groomed to think that we're smarter than children and we're better than kids and we know what's best. A child knows what's best. A child knows soulfully what's best. And then once it follows its heart and its desires, it learns the different mechanics about it. And then it grows up to be an adult, enjoying life to the fullest, really making this world the best place that it can be. It's not about ego and learning a bunch of stuff because, that's what's put there to make someone look like they're the best, or becoming a pop star or a singer, or, anything to get the attention of someone else because they feel they need that attention to feel good about themselves. No. A child, when they're doing something, they're doing it because they innately feel so good. It makes them feel famous even though nobody's looking. Find what makes you feel famous even when nobody's looking. It makes you feel rich without any money. And everything else falls into place because you have found your puzzle piece that brings the alignment to the puzzle of this world. Everybody's trying to take a puzzle piece that doesn't belong to them, that doesn't fit, and they're trying to make it fit, and they drink so they can come into Fantasyland and feel comfortable with it not fitting. And that's why there's so much chaos and disorder. So, I mean, I feel like that just, it's a no-brainer, literally. And might I add that it's not always drink to feel comfortable with a puzzle piece that they've chosen that's not natural for them. Sometimes it's making someone else feel bad, or it's stealing, or it's setting, trying to get underneath someone's skin, That's just as bad as like a drug when you're trying to hurt somebody else because it makes you feel better. That's not good energy. So if you're getting off to trying to hurt somebody else because that's what makes you feel high, instead of doing a drug or something, or doing both, that also counts. So people who are trying to, do a puzzle piece that doesn't fit with them and tries to make it fit in life, if it's uncomfortable, obviously depending on what it is, certain people, not everybody will just do drugs. Some people will just try to, get under people's skin, or try to create chaos in someone's life, or start drama, and that makes them feel high. So remember that kind of thing too. And that's just because they are separated from their inner, like that inner child, that child who wanted to do something or never figured out what it was they wanted to do because they had to become complacent and they had to live life not from feeling what they were naturally drawn to. And then that on top of having to deal with everybody else, not going through or not doing what they're naturally drawn to, and then, they want to, it's not just the alcohol or the drugs, it's also other people feeling good about, stirring up problems in someone else's life because they just don't see it as them being empty or sad. They're seeing it as, I don't want to, they just see it as, how do I, what makes me feel good is seeing someone else not feel good, because hurt people hurt people. So they feel hurt, and then they want to hurt someone else because that's what makes them feel good. Seeing someone else hurt, because they don't, it all leads back to, how to get through that is learning and finding a faith that fits what you're connected to, what you feel naturally drawn to. It doesn't have to be anything anybody has to know about, but there's tons of different faiths, gurus, all kinds of people to listen to, and then there's that one that really draws you in. That's the one you need to listen to, and then it can lead to somebody else to listen to, and then somebody else. Just be with yourself. Be with yourself. Get to know who you are. It's like money, drugs, and messing with people are the highs of surface level people that don't want to go or don't believe in anything that's actually there for us. It's almost like saying God or whatever faith you believe in is just there, but when it comes down to it, like when you're doing stuff that is not good for you or for someone else, why don't you feel like something's watching? Why do you feel like you're alone? Just something to ask yourself, right? Take care.